Well, good morning. Welcome to Debbie's Back Porch. So glad to have you with us. Last month, I canned, doing home canning, Salisbury steak in a jar, which is basically hamburger patties with some spices and canned in vegetable and beef stock. So today, I'm going to have that for dinner, and this video is about how to turn this, the canned product that I canned safely using safe-tested methods and a safe-tested recipe, into this dinner. Before I do that, please give us a thumbs up if you like our videos. And if you subscribe to our channel, you'll get a notice when we post new videos. And it'll make me happy. It'll be almost as good as if you came to dinner at my house. Let's get started. Okay, this is the canned product, and I already opened it because I did a follow-up testing on the lids that I used. And I'm going to pour this liquid off into a jar, and we want 1 cup of liquid. And in this jar, I only have 2 Salisbury steaks. Some of the jars I put in 3, and this recipe would work for 3. But if you do it in quarts, or you're doing 2 smaller jars, you'll need to double all of these ingredients. So this is a little bit short of 1 full cup. And I have a 4-ounce can of mushrooms here because I want to make this a mushroom gravy. And I'm going to pour some of that mushroom broth into this to make it up to a cup. If you don't want to add mushrooms, you don't have to. You can just add some beef broth here. Or really even water, because this is a pretty rich broth. So I'll put just a little oil, about a tablespoonful, in this 9-inch cast iron skillet. And a smaller skillet works well if you're making it for 2. But I put just enough in there to prevent sticking. I added my mushrooms, and now I'm going to add my patties. Now these are fully cooked through the canning process. I just want to make sure they're heated through, and I want to get maybe a little bit more browning on the patties. I'm time-lapsing here, but this really doesn't take long, just long enough for it to get a little steamy. And then I'm going to take up the patties and the mushrooms into a bowl here while we make our gravy. So you can see these are just a little bit brown, kind of steamy. We want that browning flavor. I did brown these patties before I put them into the jar, but I want to add a little bit more. So I'm going to take these up. Well, that one wants to fight me. And I'll set them aside. And then we'll make our mushroom gravy. Then I'm going to put 2 tablespoons full of butter and melt that in the pan. And when that's melted, I'm going to add 2 tablespoons plus 1 teaspoon full of flour. Now that's not your normal proportion, but let me explain. We're going to make a very dark roux. And sometimes when you cook a roux a really long time, or longer than normal, it loses some of its ability to thicken. So I've added just an extra teaspoonful of flour to this to make sure I get a nice thick mushroom gravy. So we're going to stir this and stir it, and this is the magic of time-lapse here, until we get a nice chocolate roux. I'm going to give you a hint here. I'm using the magic of time-lapse, but this takes about 10 minutes of stirring on a medium-low heat. Not a high heat because you don't want to scorch it. You just want to toast it. You want to toast that flour. If you are in a hurry and you want to cut that time down a little bit, you could add 2 or 3 drops of something called Kitchen Bouquet, and you can cut out about 8 of those 10 minutes. So we have reached the point here You can see how brown this is getting. You want it to be a caramel color. And then we're going to add our 1 cup of broth. We add it kind of slowly, a little bit at a time. As I'm sure you figured out, we're just making brown gravy. And if you watch my videos, you've seen me make brown gravy 100 times. The little extra bit of flour, as I say, is because I wanted to spend the time to brown this pretty dark. And the Kitchen Bouquet is a kitchen hack that I have used many times. So we're going to stir, stir, stir until we get a nice bubble on this. Get all the liquid in. And when all of the liquid has been put in, I'm going to add the patties and the mushrooms back into the sauce. I'm going to let them simmer together about 10 minutes until this gravy thickens up and we have a nice, rich, thickened mushroom gravy to put over whatever. Rice, mashed potatoes, riced cauliflower, whatever you want to have for dinner. So I'm just going to let this sit here and simmer while I prepare my side dishes for dinner, and I will be back. And as promised, here's dinner. Now I'm going to eat this, and I promise you, I don't usually eat at the kitchen counter. I only do it when I'm making a video because that's really the only way I can get a good picture of the food, lighting and such. So I'm sitting on my kitchen stool at my kitchen counter and I'm going to give this a shot. So beginning to end, using this canned Salisbury steak. This took about half an hour start to finish. And this is really good. And I'm going to tell you, these mashed potatoes, I ain't proud. These are instant mashed potatoes. Because my point tonight was to get something good in a hurry, because I got other things to do. And you know, the flavor is remarkable. I know sometimes people say to me they don't can meats because they don't like the flavor of the canned meat. But, you know, this is different. I used vegetable stock in my canning. I put some onion powder and garlic powder in the beef as I canned it. And this tastes so good, just like fresh. And the texture is especially good for canned meat. So if you're a canner but you've hesitated to can meat, I'm going to post the tutorial video at the end of this video, and I recommend you try it. And I'm also going to recommend that you join us again tomorrow on Debbie's Back Porch.